Hello and welcome to another how-to video. This time I'm going to show you how to repair your Bosch washing machine suspension. So to do this job you're going to need yourself a 13mm spanner, a reasonably small flathead screwdriver and a T20 Torx screwdriver or socket. So first things first, don't forget to unplug your machine from the mains before starting any work. So, how do you know your washing machine may need new suspension? If you open the door and push, wiggle the drum like that, you can hear the machine bounce, the drum bounces far too much and there's a horrible rattling sound. You may find it more noticeable on a spin. So first things first, if you lie the machine on its back, you'll see clearly the two suspension legs, one there and one here, which support the drum. So looking in the machine then, you've got a bolt with a nut underneath, that's a 13mm both ends. You'll notice, if I show you the other side, so you'll see here you can't actually remove this pin to remove the damper completely because it's actually fixed via the tub. You'd have to take the tub apart to be able to replace the whole unit. Luckily, the dampers actually come in two pieces so you can split them. I'll show you how to do that in a second. So as I just said, there is a nut and a bolt here to remove. And they are 13mm each. So you have here a 13mm bolt, as I said. There is a nut underneath, however that is fixed in place by the cabinet, so you shouldn't need to worry about that. If you get yourself your spanner and just undo that, we'll see here the nut will move slightly. You will be able to just keep a finger on there to stop that from moving. Once it's done a certain way, you'll be able to undo it by hand. And the bolt and the nut, and there is also a washer which goes on the nut end. Now you can just slide your damper free like that, push it up into the thing, and then you can pull it out as far as it will go. So I've just done the same on the other side because I want to show you how to remove this because you can't see it on the other side. You've got this little tab here. You'll see most of the time the shock absorber doesn't come out, so you will have to prise on this tab because it locks. It's meant to actually lock in there, but obviously this one didn't hold it. So this is what I'm replacing, is these pads here. I'll show you the kit I've got in a second. I'll just remove the other damper first. So on the other side, you'll see that the tab is actually underneath. So you want to get your screwdriver in. This one actually won't come out, so you can get your screwdriver in like that, prise it away, and then the damper will just pull out like so. So this is the kit I've gone for. You can actually buy the dampers as a whole unit with the top piece as well. That's entirely up to you whether you want to go to that length. I'll just compare it with the original. You'll see the original actually has a movable insert. Now I was actually just going to replace the pads, however I may, being that they are the same length, I think I'm just going to replace the dampers as they are. So you've got your two dampers, 4 pads to go on the dampers, one on each side, and then we've got a little pack of grease to go on the dampers. So you'll see here I've actually got the dampers and the pads laid out. It's because I'm going to actually spray them with a little bit of contact adhesive, because getting them in, pads do actually just fit in there, but you don't want to have it at the risk of falling out while you're putting it in, because it can be very frustrating. So just give it a very light spraying, and we'll just let that go tacky. I'm going to do the other side of these as well. So if you're happy there, nice and tacky, you can then go ahead and place the pad into the damper like so. I'm going to leave that just for a couple of minutes just to definitely stick. Okay, now I'm going to use the grease and put a little bit on each pad. There will be, if you're using the same system that I am and you've only bought the bottom half, there will be excess grease in the damper housing. So you won't need to worry so much about getting loads on there. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and fit this. So as it came out, you just want to slide the damper into the hole. Be very careful with the pads themselves. Obviously being new, they will stick out a little bit. But you should be able to just push them in. See, this is why we glue them, because you just saw that come out there. They should be able to be pushed up in. So if you manage to get the damper into the holder, you can then find your tab, same as this one, on the bottom side of the damper, or depending on which one it is, and you need to push that back down to lock the damper in place. That done, it's now just a simple matter of fitting the damper back in its locating hole and making sure the holes line up on the damper bracket. And now you can fit your nuts and bolts. Maybe a little bit awkward to locate it to start with, but you'll find it eventually. And then don't forget your washer and your nut to go underneath. You will be able to hand tighten that so far, and then you can get your spanner on the bolt and you can tighten it up. And you can see the bolt is not moving underneath. And I'm just getting some tension on it now. You want to get a fair bit of tension on that. I'm going to say that's enough, and that's just a repeat process of doing the same for the other side. So again, I'm going to get my grease and stick some on the pad. Get some in that little hole there as well. Okay, and what I'm also going to do this, something I did off camera, which I should have done the first time round, which was I actually put a little bit of grease in the edge of the damper there as well. Because as you may have seen, it's very, very tight and it's very, very fiddly in some cases. And I'll try and fit this damper on camera this time. Much better. Slide that in like that. Remember your tab you need to push back down. And then you can pull that back out until it locates. And then just push that back in as before into its slot, and now you can bolt it up. Okay, so once again make sure your damper is located. You may need to wiggle it around a bit to get the bolt all the way through. There you go. In some cases you may have to lift up very slightly because obviously the tab is at a slight angle. Get your washer and your nut underneath. As before, you can tighten the nut so far, and then you can get your 13mm spanner on there. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now we'll get the machine back on its feet. So now that's done, the machine's back on its feet. You'll see now there is no more rattling from the suspension. And that was how to change a set of Bosch washing machine suspension dampers. If you want to see more, I've done plenty more how-to videos on Bosch washing machines, including door seals, inlet valves and heaters. They're on my channel. But for now, thanks for watching this one. See you on the next one.